5 Times Tony Denied Having a Kid by Katie the Book Nerd. Chapter 7, Final Chapter. The One Time It Was True. Tony and Peter. Peter yawned and stretched out across the lab like a cat. It had been a long night working in the lab, and he had ended up falling asleep in his chair. He wasn't sure how he ended up here, though. Last thing he remembered was his head leaning on the table while Tony tinkered with nanoparticles. "Hey, Friday," he asked the AI, "how did I end up here?" At appropriately 2:32 a.m., Sarah moved you to the couch and draped the blanket over you. Her robotic voice replied. Peter was perplexed. "He moved me?" "Yes, Mr. Parker. Would you like to see the footage?" Friday offered. "Sure." A hologram appeared in front of him. Tony was hard at work on his new nanotechnology with his AC/DC blasting in the back. Tony turned to see that Peter had fallen asleep in the chair, his head drooped back at an awkward angle. "Friday, turn off the music." The sound died out, and Tony walked over to Peter, carefully lifting him out of the chair and onto the couch behind him. "Huh. He's pretty light for a 16-year-old. I should feed him more." He turned around and kept working, but this time with the sound of Peter's soft snores providing sound, as opposed to the rock that was played before. Peter couldn't help but smile, a mix of embarrassment and happiness displayed on his face. At some point, the difference in their relationship became palpable. Peter couldn't exactly pinpoint when it had started, but at some point, Mr. Stark became Tony, and irregular weekends spent at the compound became him popping by the tower multiple times a week. Not that he was complaining, of course. It was nice to have someone like that in his life. In case you are wondering, Sir is upstairs. I suggest you join him, as he is attempting to make breakfast. This is a task he has not proved skilled at. Peter chuckled and headed upstairs. Friday's analysis was putting it lightly. It smelled of burning, there was flour all over the floor, and Tony had milk in his hair. Not noticing Peter at first, Tony continued to whistle and attempt his pancakes, swearing every time as it continued to turn out wrong. Despite how much fun he was having watching this happen, Peter finally spoke up to put Tony out of his misery. "Oh, wow," was all Peter could manage without completely bursting out and laughing. "Yeah, I know. I was sitting up here fixing the toaster and I decided I wanted pancakes. I love pancakes. Anyway, I tried to make them, but it didn't turn out so good." Peter looked around at the mess across the counter and asked, "Did you follow the instructions? The recipe?" Tony frowned, rechecking his cookbook. "I followed the instructions. Pepper or Steve are usually the ones cooking, so I didn't know where the measuring stuff was." "Measuring cups?" "Yeah, so I just eyeballed it." "Tony!" Peter gaped, peering into the bowl. "You can't just eyeball it!" "Why not? It worked before. That looked pretty close," Tony told him, taking him back. "Tony!" Peter insisted. "It looks like you've put about 5 cups of flour in here." "I didn't. I only put 2 in, like the recipe said." He held up a drinking cup. "Oh my God, drinking cups and measuring cups are not the same thing!" Peter yelled, cracking up. "Well, I'm sorry no one taught me how to cook. I pay people for these kind of things," Tony yelled back before sighing. "Do you just want to go back to that breakfast place by your apartment? Waffle House or something? I know you mentioned you needed more clothing from your apartment anyway." "Well, I thought May was going to be in the ICU for 2 more days, not 5. It's not my fault I couldn't plan accordingly. But I do love me some Waffle House." Peter had been staying with Tony for a few days while May was still recovering. Thanks to Peter's less extensive injuries and his healing factor, he was back to normal after a week. May still had a few complications, so they were still monitoring her. But they were told that unless something drastic happened, she should recover. "Awesome. Are you gonna go change?" Tony smirked, looking at the Iron Man pajamas Peter was wearing. "Nah, I like these," he said, smiling, like he wasn't wearing them for the sole purpose of embarrassing Tony. "This size is like 8:30. No one will probably care. Besides, it's Waffle House." So they got in the car and headed out to get pancakes from Waffle House. When they got there, the waiter gave them a smile and directed them to a mostly hidden booth in the back, to the pair's relief. They had just ordered when Tony got a call. That's weird. This must be pretty important, or it would be directed to Pepper. Do you mind if I take it?
Peter shook his head, so Tony hit accept call.
Hello, Tony Stark?
Hello, Mr. Stark. I am calling to inform you that May Parker has recently suffered from a stroke due to blood loss and the strain put on her heart. She passed away at 8:23 this morning, and you are listed as her only emergency contact. I trust that you can explain this to her relatives and figure out funeral planning. A social worker has been notified to find a place for Peter, and she is willing to meet you at the hospital where there is some paperwork we will need you to complete. My condolences.
The line went dead. Tony went completely numb. May had a stroke? The doctor said she was recovering. And now Peter. Oh God, Peter.
Tony? What's going on? Peter asked, concerned.
He struggled to find the right words. Listen, Peter. Something happened.
Oh no. His face went blank. Did something happen with my aunt?
Tony nodded solemnly. She had a stroke last night and passed away.
Peter's mouth slowly fell open, and he started to blink back tears. Tony moved to his side of the booth and enveloped him in a hug.
Hey, Peter. It's okay.
Tony tried to comfort the boy, slowly helping him stand and led him out to the car.
Well, it isn't okay, but we will figure everything out. You hear me? We can arrange a funeral. Something she would love, okay? Spider-Man can take a quick breather for as long as you need. And maybe some of the Avengers could help out, so you don't need to worry about the little guy.
What about me? Peter asked softly, his voice cracking. They're going to put me in a foster home. I don't have any relatives left. It was just me and Faye. His voice caught on the last word, and Tony squeezed his shoulder in a comforting way as they slid into the car. They sat there, not yet pulling out of the parking lot.
Don't even worry about that. You can stay with me.
Peter looked up at him, taken aback. Really? I don't want to be a burden. If you need me to, I can go somewhere else.
He looked down uneasily. Absolutely not, Tony told him. There is no way you are staying in a foster home when you have people who care about you and can support you here. Don't even think about it.
They rode to the hospital in complete silence, except for Peter's sniffles and almost silent tears. Tony couldn't stand to see the boy that was so chatty and animated minutes ago, now falling apart at the seams. As soon as they got there, Tony wrapped Peter in another hug, before carefully guiding him inside. Okay, Peter, we need to decide what to do with you, the social worker chirped, too perky for her job. I see that you don't have any relatives and...
Peter will be staying with me, Tony deadpanned. Give me whatever forms you need to sign, whatever lawyers you need me to call, I'll do it. There will be no debate on what to do with him. He said the last part mockingly.
Absolutely, sir. Let me get everything together. She backed away, recognizing who she was talking to and the weight of the situation she was in. The next few hours were filled with papers, tears, lawyers, and an unhelpful and insensitive social worker. The poor kid was still in his Iron Man pajamas, and looking as small and helpless as Tony had ever seen him. He hadn't spoken since they arrived, instead choosing to keep his head down and play with the hem of his shirt. Eventually, everything was taken care of, and Tony could bring Peter back to the tower. They walked in to find all of the Avengers playing games and chatting like usual.
Hey, you can go ahead to your room. I'll talk to them, Tony whispered to the kid. I'll come and find you when I'm done.
He practically ran off to his room that he used whenever he stayed here. Which left Tony with the confused Avengers.
Guys?
Tony called out to the Avengers lounging in their living room.
I have a kid now.
End of chapter, end of story. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. Oh my goodness, I didn't realise it ended so sadly. Oh boy, because this was a blind read through, so I didn't know that it ended that sadly. Poor Peter, poor May. Oh Lord, I just want to give them both a cuddle. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, girls and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. I'll try to post something happier next time. Bye!